Is being British being part of Europe?
Yes.
Why is that?
It's everyone being involved together. It's being British, it's having other people around you and accepting you, and that's being British.
I don't think so. I mean, yes, you're in Europe, but there's a cityfied culture about you that takes you out of the depth of some European nations as far as culture is concerned. It's such a melting pot that it's not distinguishable as any one country in Europe. I mean, it's my first time here, so maybe I'll get a different perspective before I leave, but it just seems so very broad that it doesn't fall into any particular European stereotype that you could think of.
Our culture is intertwined, and there's a lot of similarities also. And yeah, it's close to Europe, so I guess there's definitely like a part of British society British people that's distinguishes them. Obviously, like every single country has, but I would say that it's part of the European community. Yeah.
We are in Europe, even though we'll quit the European Union, we will still be in Europe. Britain is in Europe, on the Europe continent, so yeah.
Now there's a channel between us, but we are part of Europe, and I think we should remain so, definitely. So, without a doubt, we're not Little Britain, you know. We're not some sort of force that we were. We've got to be part of an integrated society.
Being British, you are being in a community of Europeans, I think, because how our Europeans, British, French, German, they are so connected, and we all share the same ethnic, I think. I haven't been in Europe for a long time, but I feel like being British would definitely help you understand more of the European way of living.
British in general is just, it's got its own type of culture to being European. I just think when you come to Britain, you speak to a British person, you can tell that they're British, and I think they're quite stuck in their ways of British, i.e. they've got a stigma between talking to people, strangers. They get quite defensive.
Britain is one of wasn't the founding member of the European Union, but certainly if I think of the key countries, and that being Germany, France, and the UK as the original members, then I would say, yeah, I mean, geographically, politically, culturally, and historically, Britain is part of Europe.
My mother's half Italian, my father's Irish. We've got smatterings of English. I'm married to a woman who's half Danish, half British. Now, British to me now is a nationality. It's not an identity.
It's part of the tradition. It's part of history. It's part of being unified as an entity. Now, I know it's not the continent, but I do believe that staying together is probably a good thing for trade, for overall economics, but I do see the other side of the argument.
I'm American, but I do think Britain is part of Europe, so I think being British is being part of Europe, yeah.
Why is that?
It's on the continent of Europe, and there are a lot of non-British Europeans in Britain, so yeah, I think it's part of Europe.
Being British part of Europe? Well, I'm not British for a start, but I don't think so. Shouldn't be. We are always insular, isn't it? We are island, never part of Europe before. We've always been an island.
As an American, that's an interesting question. I think yes, but not. I have a lot of British friends. I'm here quite often, and Britain is part of the EU, but Britain is always been a little bit separate, which I like, I think. But I think from a business point of view, it's pretty important that Britain stays in the EU. From an identity perspective, I think it's also important that Britain keep its separate identity and be able to do things a little bit different than the rest of the continent.
No, I don't think so. Anyone's in Europe, innit? If you're British, you're British, but yeah, not my opinion, no.
Even though it's not really in Europe, but it's still a part of Europe. In my opinion, no, because there's so many different cultures in here. There's not just British and white people here, there's all different multicultural, so I believe it's not.
We're in a global community now, aren't we? So, you know, being part of Europe and how close we are to Europe, it's important.
I mean, it's been always part of Europe since I was born, so it should be. Yeah.
Unity is strength, and I really believe that in Europe we've got that strength, we've got that security.
The UK has had a huge influence on Europe, what Europe is today, and without that influence and without the help of the British culture, Europe wouldn't be what it is. That being said, it doesn't. Being part of Europe doesn't necessarily mean being part of the EU.
You can say that being British, to me anyway, is a part of Europe, because although Europe, the term includes many different countries and all those different cultures, each one of those is a part of Europe. Without it, it wouldn't be the Europe that it is. So each one contributes to Europe. So Britishness, or however you want to define it, to me is being a part of Europe. So I definitely am going to vote to stay in Europe.